Hey guys, Vid here. Welcome to my everyday carry video for 2026. Super excited to show you guys my everyday carry, as the last time I made an everyday carry video was all the way back in 2024, and since then I have made some upgrades. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's start with the device that I use the most on a day-to-day basis, and that's my phone. And I upgraded to the iPhone 17 Pro Max last year. This is an upgrade from my 15 Pro, and it's my first time having a Pro Max phone. I really like the battery life on this phone. It's amazing, and the camera takes really good pictures and really good videos too. That's really important to me as I use my iPhone to record all my content, and I have zero regrets upgrading to this. However, I kind of do wish I went for the orange. It's definitely grown on me ever since it came out. I've seen a lot of orange iPhones out in the wild. However, I still don't really regret going for the silver. It's still a nice color too, and overall, it's a great phone. Now, if you're coming from an older iPhone, especially like an iPhone 13 or a 14, you're going to be satisfied with the base model 17, as it has a lot of great features. And honestly, the difference between the 17 and the 17 Pro this year isn't really worth it for a lot of users. I did also review the iPhone Air sometime last year, and that was very polarizing to me, as it was a really cool and futuristic device. However, I just don't think I could make it work as my only device, especially as someone who relies on the camera a lot. As an iPhone user, there's two must-have accessories in my opinion: AirPods and Apple Watch. Starting off with the Apple Watch, I'm rocking the Apple Watch Series 10 natural titanium finish with the Milanese loop band. It's been great. Now, I use my Apple Watch for just basic watch things as well as workout tracking, and it does both of those things just fine. However, with the Apple Watch, no matter how fancy you go, it's always going to be seen as a smartwatch, a gadget, and there are some higher end versions like the Hermes versions. I really like those too. However, I just don't really see the point in spending that much on a smartwatch. Now, I definitely do really like luxury watches too, and I do plan on eventually getting some. However, that's going to be much later down the line. Moving on to the AirPods, I use the AirPods Pro 3s as my daily AirPods, and they've been great. The noise canceling is really good, almost as good as the AirPods Max in my opinion, and because of that, I'm grabbing these more and more often because of how good that noise canceling is. Plus, they have some new software features like adaptive audio and conversation awareness, as well as the famous live translation. Now, I didn't really use live translation much, as I haven't gone on an international trip since I got the AirPods Pro 3s, but I definitely will be on my next trip, and I'll let you guys know how that works. However, the big problem I have with AirPods is that they just hurt my ears after using them for more than an hour, which is why my go-to headphone is definitely the AirPods Max. Now, these haven't been updated in a very long time. Apple added USB-C a few years ago, and I don't really think you should be spending $550 on them. Yes, the audio quality is insanely good, and if you're in the Apple ecosystem, these are perfect, but you can also get the Sonys for a lot less that also have really good audio quality. I'm going to be waiting for the AirPods Max 3 to upgrade, and hopefully they come soon, because this is the only Lightning product I have, and I really like the convenience of having all USB-C. Taking a little detour from the tech items to talk about some of my other everyday items, starting off with shoes. And I still mainly have the same shoe collection that I've had the past few months. However, the shoe that I've been wearing a lot lately is the Air Jordan 4s in the white cement colorway. I got these for retail on the Nike Sneakers app last May, and I really like how they look. However, they're just really uncomfortable. Air Jordan 4s are known as the pinky toe crushers, and that really sucks because there's a lot of Air Jordan 4 colorways I really like. Now, going through some of my wants in the GOAT app, I'm probably going to end up buying like one or two pairs from here. However, if I really had to choose one shoe that I really want to get, regardless of the price, that's got to be the Travis Scott Air Jordan 1s, especially in this fragment colorway. I really like how these look. However, I just don't really see myself spending this much money on a pair of shoes, as it's just not really that much worth it for me, especially for a price as high as those Travis Scotts. I could get like 3 or 4 shoes that I like. Over the past few years, I've gotten really into fragrances. My roommate is really into fragrances, and he kind of got me into them as well. My go-to for this season is Stronger With You Absolutely, and it's been a compliment getter, but it's also one of my most favorite fragrances that I've ever bought. When it comes to the fragrance for warmer months, my go-to has been Chanel Allure Homme Sport Extreme. This one is once again a great compliment getter, and this is one that I definitely want to rebuy, as it's probably my most favorite fragrance that I've ever bought. Last season, I was wearing Versace Eros Flame a lot in the winter, and this one is really good in my opinion. It still holds a little bit of nostalgia to me because Versace Eros, the original, was my first ever fragrance that I've owned, and Eros Flame is definitely my favorite out of the Eros fragrances that I've tried. For my wallet of choice, I'm rocking the pocket organizer from Louis Vuitton. This is my first ever luxury item that I've ever owned, and for a luxury wallet, it's incredibly practical. You can fit a lot of cards in here and still have room for cash and a few other things too. Now, I don't like to overstuff this as I don't really carry that many cards with me, and I also don't really carry cash that often. If you're in the market for a luxury wallet as a guy, the pocket organizer is always going to be my number one choice. This year, I recently finally picked up my very first adult backpack. I've been using the same backpack pretty much for the longest time, since college, but I finally upgraded. I chose the Alpha Bravo Search backpack from Tumi. Now, this backpack isn't really all about aesthetics. This is mainly designed for utility, but it does a really good job with that. I even got my initials hot stamped on this bag. I absolutely love this thing, and I don't regret spending money on it. There are some really nice bags that Tumi has, especially some good leather options, as I'm a big leather guy. However, the one thing I'm not really a big fan of from Tumi is the suitcases. Now, don't get me wrong, I do really like them. I think they look really nice, but for the price of a Tumi, I think that you should honestly go and buy a Rimowa, as I think Rimowa luggage are definitely much better in my opinion. I feel like Rimowa is also the gold standard of luxury luggage, or just luggage in general. Like, there's really nothing like a Rimowa. When it comes to anything creative related, my go-to is always my MacBook Pro. I'm using the 16-inch MacBook Pro M1 Pro 2021 version, and I've even edited my very first YouTube video on this thing. It's been great. Now, 16 gigs of RAM is a bit on the low side for 2026, and I also regret not going for higher storage, but other than that, I don't really have too many complaints about this thing. The display is phenomenal. The speakers are the best of any laptop out there. However, it is a bit bulky as well, especially after reviewing the MacBook Air last year. I kind of wish I could go for a MacBook Air, but there's just some things that the Pro has that the Air doesn't have that makes me always go for the MacBook Pro. Now, there are rumors of a redesigned MacBook Pro that's going to be thinner and lighter and has the same OLED screen as the current iPad Pro. I'm really excited for that, and I'm definitely going to be upgrading to that. For entertainment, my go-to device is still my iPad. I'm still using the same iPad Pro M2 that I've been using for the past 3 years. It's a great device, however, I kind of wish I went for the smaller screen, as I find the big screen great for a lot of Apple Pencil related things as well as watching YouTube videos, but having a jumbo tablet is just a little restrictive in my opinion. I'm low-key tempted to upgrade to the M5 iPad Pro, one for the OLED display because it just looks really nice, but also because I could get a smaller device and I would be using it a lot more. But still, I think I'm going to hold on to my M2 iPad Pro for a few more years. The last item on my list is my tech pouch, and I just got this basic tech pouch on Amazon. The front compartment I like to use for keeping cables, while larger items stay in the larger compartment. I typically like to carry a few different power banks around with me. However, my favorite one has been this jumbo power bank from Anker that I got for Christmas. It has a built-in display, as well as a retractable USB-C cable and a smaller non-retractable one, and it can charge up to 4 devices at once, and yes, luckily it is airline safe as well. So there you have it, guys. That sums up my everyday carry in terms of my tech for 2026. Now, if you guys like this video and you want to see more content in the future, you know what to do. Hit that like button and subscribe. That's all I got for today. I'll see you guys next time.